Hello, everyone, and welcome to the All Four Downs podcast. I'm your host, Ovi, and I'm joined with the grand champion, the top dog of the NFL Week picks. He is the one and only Hector V in the house. Hector, how you doing, eh?
Yeah. Forget about it. I'm doing all right.
Hey, forget about it. That's right. Forget about it. Forget about it. We got another week, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, listen, you could say forget about it, but man, I'm like I'm distraught right now. Um my feelings were hurt very very badly. College football helped me, but NFL didn't. But you know what I mean? It hurts. Hector, it hurts. Oh, I only want one game. Hector, help!
Yeah, you need it. Good night.
I, I'm suffering. Nah. Let me stop, man, because I got to get serious real quick.
Yeah.
Because even though this is only for entertainment purposes and everything else, the one thing that is for real is no other than an incident that happened yesterday that is brought to light all day today. And for those of you that don't know, I'll start off with first down. It is the death of Nealon, who is the uh, was the Dallas Cowboys defensive tackle, right? The defensive end.
Yeah.
Nealon, a 24-year-old defensive end for the Dallas Cowboys, was found dead early Thursday morning. Authorities say that his death is being investigated as an apparent suicide. And here's the sequence of events that has been reported, and this is from the AP News. And they're stating that on Wednesday night he was involved in a police pursuit after allegedly failing to stop for a traffic violation. His vehicle was found crashed and abandoned. Later, he was found with a self inflicted gunshot wound. Prior to that, police responded to his home for a welfare check at about 11:40 p.m. Made no contact. No official cause of death was listed immediately by the team, but the law enforcement reports have detailed the scenario. So it's a tragic loss, especially when we're talking about suicide, Hector.
Yeah. This is something that, it has to be really taken serious, especially in the NFL when it comes to mental health. It's a struggle that doesn't discriminate, and we all understand that it could touch anyone. Okay, especially someone like him who's in the spotlight. These NFL players and all these professional sports athletes, they're in the spotlight. And and it hurts. We have to have these conversations. We have to be able to, check on one another. You know what I'm saying? Because this is real, whether it's in your family or his family, whatever. It, these NFL players, they go through a lot, and they mask it, they hide it, they say everything's okay, whether it's because of pride or whatever the case may be. It's a tragic to see someone as young as him being 24 years old. He still had a whole life ahead of him. To be lost. I mean, he had an outstanding game for himself personally on Monday night with the block kick and taking it back for a touchdown. And then within hours later, I mean, days later, this happens. It's a tragic. We can't take this kind of stuff lightly.
No. And look, there's a lot of things that can happen, and for someone to allegedly want to cause harm to oneself, that's a development. You know what I mean? And it's sad. This is a I call it a disease that's the unknown, right? Because we don't know what he was going through. We don't, you know. You think because they're all NFL stars that they got everything that they want, the contract and everything else. But the first thing that come to my head was, did he go through a concussion protocol or something? You know, is his brain okay? You know what I mean?
Mm,
Because lately, we've been talking about concussion protocols here and there, and you're talking about a guy like him who's always trying to attack to get to the quarterback, getting blocked. He got to do a lot of physical stuff.
right.
you know. But then was there other physical stuff and emotional stuff that was happening outside the football, right? And we don't know. And there's been reports that he had suicidal thoughts prior. So again, it's like, you know, what can we do to help each other? And and it's very important to address these issues, and it doesn't matter what age you're in, because even little kids go through these emotions and stuff. Um, and and the reason why it matters is because his death is a reminder of the mental health struggles that can affect professional athletes and even those appearing to ascend in their careers. His final play was a high point, a first touchdown,
Yeah.
the turn of events, especially poignant. The football community, team, league fans is grieving a young life and a career cut short, and it's sad. And I tell you, um, you need to address the issue. Seek mental help. Really, seek medical help. Excuse me, not mental help. Seek medical help. We're dealing with something similar here at home, and you know, you never know, man. You never know. It could be under your nose, right? Um, you just never know. You gotta reach out. You gotta communicate. You gotta talk to one another, man. Um, the three words that I'll recommend for anyone is just ask the question: Are you okay?
Yeah.
Just as simple. Are you okay? And if you're not, be able to talk about it. That's all. You know. And then, like I said, I mean, I'm gonna keep repeating myself. Seek medical attention and look that your health, your life is more priority than the game itself. The game could wait. It really can. And my deepest condolence to the family, friends, and fans out there that are grieving at this moment. My heart goes out to all of you. On the other side, yeah, not so great news in the NFL, but then again, this player is not in the NFL anymore. And that's Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown is a former NFL wide receiver who was arrested for second degree attempted murder, charged tied to a shooting outside a celebrity boxing event that happened back in May. According to police and the arrest warrant, Brown is accused of grabbing a handgun from a security guard during an altercation and firing two shots at a man he had previously gotten into a fist fight. The bullet glazed him, but after the incident, Brown was not immediately arrested, but somehow the arrest caught up to him because he was located in Dubai, apprehended by the U.S. Marshals, and he was sent to New Jersey and is being
Hmm.
held pending on extradition to Florida. Look, and no matter where you go, they're going to find you. Just
For
saying.
real.
And this is a pattern of misconduct for Antonio Brown because he had a lot of issues in the NFL. He started with the Steelers, he went to the Jets, then he go to Tampa Bay,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
And like, oh yeah, he went to the Jets, he took his stuff off and just left, right? So
Hmm.
there's a lot of things that's going on with this guy, and he's going through the wrong direction. It's a privilege, man, to being in the NFL. It's a privilege to play professional sports. You know, you get the privilege to playing the game that you love. Don't got to worry about anything. You're getting paid millions of dollars. I just found very like dumbfounded on how people could just throw away all that stuff, you know. But
And
that's
we don't know.
yeah,
We just don't know what he's dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Is he dealing with some kind of mental illness that we don't know about that's causing him to act out on and off the field? It seemed like more off the field situations, like you were saying. He hasn't. He's been. Charged with failure to pay child support. That he was accused for battery of a moving truck driver. So yes, and several domestic violence charges. So we don't know if there's something really going on with him, and is anybody doing anything to try to help him go, find the source of all this.
Well, he gonna find some help because once he's found guilty, the maximum sentence for
Oh
attempted
yeah.
murder is 15 years. So he's gonna
Hmm.
have 15 years to figure it out. So
Yeah.
yeah, let's move on to second down. Let's focus back on the NFL, the standings, the playoff standings before we make our picks. Right now, the Indianapolis Colts is still leading the conference with 72, tied with the Patriots and Broncos. It kind of feels like this is the turning point for the Indianapolis Colts because losing to the Steelers only means that are we seeing the true Daniel Jones football where he's turned over the balls and the offense are not looking as sync as they were? Is it because of the strength of schedule that
Hmm.
now that you're gonna play against competitive teams for the playoffs, that you're showing your true colors? I
Right.
think you mentioned that last week, Hector, that
Yeah.
you did not believe in the Indianapolis Colts. And then I kept saying at the beginning I didn't believe. I was like, I might as well give him a shot. I gave him a shot and I lost.
Right.
Good Lord. Oh man. But anyways, surprisingly, New England Patriots 7-2. They got the actual head coach with experience. The Broncos, I'm gonna say the Broncos are very, very lucky because they find a way to win in the fourth quarter once again. And then you got your Steelers floating around in that division. Look, they're 5-3 right now. I'm gonna say oh to them soon. I really am. Um, just because I'm just a hater. Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers, so I'm a hater. I'm gonna be honest with you, but overall, I still think that the Steelers do have a lot of issues, and I don't think they could hold on to the first place division in NFC North. And I think by the end of December, you will see a depleted Steelers. I really do. Um, Sadly to say, Buffalo found their groove on it with the Chiefs, and you stop the New England Patriots? Can Buffalo win and beat the Patriots? That's what it boils down to. That is the final thing that the Buffalo Bills need to do once they play them again. The Chargers, are they back as as a competitive team? And the Jaguars. And to be honest with you, here the only flip flop in this standings compared to last week, the Jaguars took over seventh seed, and Kansas City Chiefs are outside looking in.
Yeah, and the Chiefs gonna have to be careful moving going down forward because Jacksonville, I believe, do own the tiebreaker.
Mm, 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 mm. Move
So
on to the NFC. The Philadelphia Eagles are back on top of the NFC. Yes, in the whole entire conference. Thanks to Green Bay losing, but other than that, I mean, you have Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, and Seattle moving up a seed, and Green Bay falls from 1 to 4. The LA Rams move up, and so did San Francisco, but the Detroit Lions they fall down to number 7. And so they own the tiebreaker with Chicago.
mhm.
However, looking at their tie, they need to be careful because this is a team that's always been so close and reaching to the promised land. They haven't gotten there yet. So 5-3, halfway through the season. Let's see what happens. Um, and then you got Chicago Bears and the Carolina Panthers, also with 5 wins. Let's see if they can produce, or can somebody else sneak up that's in the bottom of the list and creep up and finish in that wild card.
No, you got Minnesota as a half game behind Carolina, um, and so we'll see. But I mean, I think Carolina is playing better football than what Minnesota is right now. So
I don't even know the formula of Carolina, to be honest with you. I don't even know how they win, and they just
they doing it.
find ways.
4 of the last 5 games they won. So yeah,
Yeah,
they doing it.
fair enough. I keep doing it. Yeah.
So
Let's move on to third down. We got two similar picks, and then I'll go ahead and break down my picks, and Hector will break out his differential. But we both made our top 6, and two games we could relate to. We'll start with the Browns and the Jets. Hector, I think you're picking the Browns in this game.
I think you're absolutely right on that one.
Well, that goes both ways because I also actually hold on for a second. Let me double check my notes before I jump the gun. Oh yeah, yeah. I do. I too pick the Browns over the Jets. But what's your reason?
I mean, look, Dylan Gabriel is not the quarterback of that I'm expecting, but for some reason they still have the Browns still got the power side of Miles Garrett and Denzel Ward. So I think that right there will be a game changer when it comes to that Jets offense. They're just a disaster on both sides of the ball right now. And I'm not saying that the Browns got it all together, but um, somebody got to get their first win, right? The Browns either going to get their first road win or the Jets going to get their first home win. I just think the Browns are just a better, more stable team in this matchup against the Jets.
Hmm.
So I'm going with the Browns to get their first the road win this year.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
They
not to
just
mention
coming
the
off a
Jets.
loss against the Patriots, and they just come out a win against Cincinnati. But then Cincinnati don't have any defense, so
Well, then the Jets
yeah,
just trade off Gardner and Williams.
yeah, they made some trades. So
So
yeah, give me
yeah,
the Browns. Yeah, they made it easier. Good job. Thanks for the reminder.
yes sir.
Uh, Rams and the 49ers. Oh, my bad. Yeah, I did say we're both going for the Browns. The Rams and the
Good.
49ers. I got a feeling you won't go for the 49ers.
I'm sorry, bro. You can't go two for two here, but no, I'm going with the Rams on this one.
Oh man, I was hoping you go for the 49ers because I too went for the Rams. That was the whole point. I'm trying to catch up to you, man.
You got a long way to go, brother. A
I
long way to
can't
go.
do that. I can't do that. So, all right, Rams all the way on this one. Rams are still our favorite 4.5. Well, that's a close one still. Let's see how if those points change between now and Sunday. Um, right now the Raiders and the Broncos have started, and these are my four picks, and I'm picking the Broncos to beat the Raiders because they're at Denver. The Giants and the Bears, I'm gonna give a field goal win to the Bears on this one. Giants are winless on the road, and without enough support from the running game, the Bears should have no problem scoring against the Giants. Bills and the Dolphins, well, you see that the Bach are going out with Miami, but the Bills usually have trouble in Miami. And that's the reason why I picked this game. But um, money line straight up, I'm taking the Bills over the Dolphins. And lastly, the Steelers and the Chargers. Both teams are right now in potential of going to the playoffs. I'm taking the home team. The Chargers should win easily against the Steelers.
I like it.
Let's move on with Hector's pick. Hector, lead the way.
Yeah, so we got Jacksonville at Houston. Um, surprisingly, you're probably not going to believe this, but I am going with the Houston Texans in this game right here. Um, I don't know. Just to me, Jacksonville is just inconsistent, and I don't think they're going to be able to hold up against this Houston defense going into this game. So I like the home team in this game, so I got the Houston Texans winning this game. Um, Sure, let's talk about the Cardinals and the Seahawks. That's the other NFC West game that I got there. Brissett looked good. He did what he had to do against the Cowboys defense, but this Seattle Seahawks team is just on a whole different level than what the Cowboys are. I don't see. I see the Cardinals really struggling to try to get some kind of offense against the Legion of Boom here in Seattle. Um, so I take the Seattle Seahawks to win this game at home. And then when we talk about the Ravens and the Vikings, look, the Ravens are hot. They got Lamar Jackson back there. They're clicking on all cylinders. They got a well-oiled machine all of a sudden from the rusty engine that they had. I'm taking the Ravens to go into Minnesota and beat the Vikings here. I think the Ravens are just starting to ramp things back up. And like you said, the Steelers are going to have a hard time winning that division. Well, you better watch out because the Ravens are coming full force here. Okay. I won't count. I won't look at the Bengals or the Browns to try to catch the Steelers. If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be the Ravens. And then look, this Patriots and Buccaneers game. This is the first time these two match up without Tom Brady on each side. I know the Buccaneers are all kind of all kind of banged up and everything. But they had a little bit of rest coming off the bye week. They're at home. The Patriots are undefeated on the road. I'm still not sold on the Patriots. I think the Patriots, to me personally, needs this kind of win in Tampa to solidify that they are a contender. Because I'm not still sold on them all the Colts just yet. So I'm taking the Buccaneers. I think, you know, Mayfield's going to do a little bit more at home, and so give me the Buccaneers to win this game.
All right. I was more intrigued on the Texans because I feel like the Texans might they could make a run. I know
They
they
could.
lost to the Broncos 18-15, but you
They
talking
beat the
about the
49ers,
Jaguars, huh?
but they turn around and beat the 49ers.
Well, no, they turned around and lost to the Broncos. That's what you meant.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah.
But they lost to Seattle, beat San Francisco, and then lost to the Broncos. But it was a defensive type of
Yeah,
game, right?
yeah. Very
But you're
defensive.
looking at how if they go past Jaguars, then they got to play the Titans. But then
That's
they host the Bills, which might be
right.
their advantage, okay? Because they know how to beat the Bills. Then they play the Colts on the road against the Colts, on the road against the Chiefs. And then the last four games is Cardinals, Raiders, Chargers, and Colts.
It's favorable. That's looked like a
It's
favorable
favorable.
schedule for the
Yeah,
Texans. Yeah, because that
absolutely.
that Colts game is a rival, is a division rival. You just never know with them too. And you're talking about they could be even at 5-5 going into that game.
Hmm.
You know, because I don't. I mean, Tennessee is just another debacle. I mean, you probably can almost pencil Tech Houston a win right there, whether or not they beat Jacksonville this week. I'm just saying, Tennessee's not showing any signs of life. I can't even really tell you who's the worst team in the NFL. It could be the Saints for all we know, which is embarrassing because the only team they beat was the Giants, and that could
Mm.
be the only team they beat this year. They probably could go 1-16 for all we know.
Yeah, well.
I don't know. All right, we'll get off the soapbox. Next.
Oh yeah. Well, we're going down to fourth down right now, and it's really the final whistle. We're going to punt away to our next show, which is the HHW Show podcast, when we're going to go ahead and talk about the aftermath of Saturday Night Live, how two new champions, and what could lead into Survivor Series, and much, much more. So you can tune into the next YouTube channel, HHW Show. That is the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show. But on this show, once again, it is heartbreaking that Marshawn Leland's death gives us a reminder of those who appear strong and successful can be fighting silent battles.
Right.
Days after celebrating the biggest play of his young NFL career, his life ended in a tragedy. His final hours showed signs of deep emotional distress, and his loss has shaken teammates, fans, and the wider football community. His story highlights the urgent need for continued mental health support for athletes at every level. Once again, our condolences to the family, friends, and fans. And if you're struggling, please reach out, talk to someone. That wraps up our show. Thank you for watching. Until next week, thank you for listening to All Four Downs podcast. Take care, everyone.